Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is the House of Grim podcast on a very special episode from an interview on the west side of indie wrestling. On the West Coast, baby. So, this is from 3PWA. These are the tag team champions, known as Killer Party. Now, these guys right here, they're some bad mofos. I'll tell you that right now. And this is the team of Ron Kilbourn and Guy Cool. Now, when they joined the chat on Zoom, we immediately just started rolling into the questions and just pulling out some great content for you guys. And we didn't do our normal intro, as we usually do, but I got y'all guys covered. Don't even worry about that. So without further ado, we got Killer Party interview. Oh yeah.
At the very end of last year, or no, I was beginning of this year.
Yeah, it was the beginning of this year. Yeah,
March.
yeah. So we literally just got thrown together as a tag team. Yeah, and it was pretty fun and it was awesome. But the way it happened, our debut as a tag team, we won the tag team titles, and the two guys we were taking them from, one of them had a car accident, and
no.
he got pretty hurt, but he recovered. And but it was like right in the wheelhouse of his recovery window, and it just was not lining up. So we did like a little angle out of it and won the titles that way in a huge douchebaggery way in a handicap match. And that doesn't mean we're not defending champions. We've been defending those bastards twice now, I think.
Nice, very nice, man. That's great. Half a year already as tag champs. Awesome.
Yeah, we got like 3 or 2.5, I guess, successful championship defenses, because the last one ended in a ref threw it out, right?
Yeah, ref threw it out. He couldn't handle the smoke.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, it was getting great, man. It was getting great. And the ref just called it, and I was like, "What? Why?"
Yeah, I think next time if we wrestle those guys again, we'll have to throw the rule book out the window.
There it is.
Yeah. Definitely call it like a I don't know, like some hardcore tag team match, something like that.
There you go.
Then maybe you guys can actually do some work. You know what I mean? Put them through a table, maybe. What?
We'll see if UFC Jim will clear it. If we can jump off their contraptions, I think we can make that work.
Yeah, because that's what I saw that was going to happen, and I was waiting for it. Then the ref was like, "No." I was waiting for it, man. That would have been a great highlight to have. I'll tell you.
Yeah, that was something else. It was cool to be in the ring with those guys. They just did some TV. They're on they were on ROH. Been around those guys for quite a while, so I'm super stoked for their progress in this business.
Oh yeah, seems great. Okay, Grimes, have you already started recording, or should we just?
Yeah, I started.
All right, perfect. Yeah. Perfect.
A good start, so
it makes it even better, man. That's why it comes all naturally,
Yeah.
So tell me, who would you guys say so far as being tag team champions? What was your toughest team to date?
Well, I mean, like you said, Robbie, when we had to take the tag title, or when we had no choice. It's like it was him by himself, so his partner was in car accident, unfortunately couldn't be there, so had an injury, and so I'm proud of the story we still told in that match and everything, and made it entertaining as we could, and for the fans, of course. That's how wrestling is. Sometimes you show up and you never know, things change, someone couldn't make it, and so it was a championship match, so he just went in it by himself, and we still made it entertaining, so I was proud of that for what we were able to do there. And then I think this last one, though, with Flex and against Delirium and Slade.
Yeah, that was
some fun. We got to really we're really kind of hitting our stride now, to be honest. So I'm hoping, hopefully we don't lose those tag team titles anytime soon, and we get to really showcase what we can do more.
Yeah, no, the party's not over yet, buddy.
The party's not over.
But yeah, no, I have to agree. Delirium was our toughest test for sure. So much so that we didn't even pass, and nor did they. So we're gonna have to run it back to see who actually passes that test.
I would love to see you guys run it back, man. You guys have to finish what you guys started.
Yeah, take that dude's other eye.
The fans are wanting it. Yeah, the fans
Right.
are chanting, let them fight, bring them back. So
Yeah.
they clearly said they want to see more of it. So that'd be actually be cool if somehow next time we're at that actual UFC gym, those actual, I know some fans go from show to show, but
the next show you guys have there, you'll see me there. You'll see me there with the big handle thing on the camera again.
Very good. I'll hold you to
So
it.
is the UFC gym? The UFC gym, is that like the main spot where you guys have most of your shows at?
yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah, a couple of locations too. Yeah, we do the UFC Corona, UFC La Mirada. I think we got UFC Brea coming up. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool that UFC is allowing independent wrestling companies
that's awesome.
to host this. Hopefully we're the only ones that get to do it. That'd be great.
Right.
Exclusive to us would be awesome. But I think it's not something that I ever would have heard of like years ago. But I think like with the whole TKO shenanigans in the mainstream, UFC and WWE kind of being under one umbrella, maybe it's a little more tolerable now.
Mm-hmm.
And UFC gym owners themselves are open to this concept. So I'm all for it because it's a state of the art. It's a state of the art gym that
it is.
Like right there, the boys can work out. There's an octagon that many of our matches have spilled into on occasion, and they're totally cool with it. And then
awesome.
like what you just saw at the last show, jumping off those stairs, it's a damn playground. And
pretty much.
And yeah, I'm stoked to be a part of it.
Yeah, when Slender Man when he first told us about going to your guys' show and that it was at the UFC gym, I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool, man." The UFC is allowing this company to do shows there and things like that. So it's pretty cool to have that type of relationship with that company, in that gym and things like that.
Yeah. That is awesome, man. That gym is great, dude. It has a lot of machines of everything.
Now, let me ask you guys: Have you only wrestled in Cali, or have you wrestled outside of Cali?
Outside of Cali, I know Guy's a traveler. I've traveled. I spent some time in Mexico. I did a NorCal, Arizona, basically mostly West Coast stuff. I only got to wrestle on the East Coast one time, and that was a long time ago. But yeah, I think Guy might have a wider map than me.
Yeah, like you said, we've both been around a long time and, bounced around. And the cool thing about California is it's so friggin' big. So you travel 6-8 hours up north and you're still in California. I guess that's the happy thing about it. I do sometimes wish I was in a more like, those states where you drive 2 hours this way, you're in a new state, 2 hours that way, you're in a new state. We don't get that luxury here in California. So, you can drive 4 hours and still be in California. So obviously, all around. And luckily I've had a chance a handful of times in Mexico, and that was really fun.
That's awesome.
I had like a 10-year-old or 12-year-old translating because these guys didn't speak any English or just barely enough to work your match through and everything. So I was a little nervous for those. But we were taken care of very well, and with groups and with wrestling down there, you kind of get this cool like little hood pass, Even my wife was like, "Hey, I'm a wrestler. Look, I'm on the flyer." Like, all right, go on through,
Awesome. That's pretty awesome.
And then Colorado, Arizona, Vegas, and stuff like that. Phoenix. I'm trying to right now have some more time to travel, so I've been able to get out there a little more and stuff, which is nice.
Have you ever had a chance to come to Michigan and wrestle?
No, I'd like to though. But that's the thing now. It's like as long as like I try to network and do that good karma. Like when someone's out here in California, I'm like, hey man, are you ever down here again? You need a place to crash. I got a place, because sometimes when I go to places, it's like the hotel, and that's what's really the main cost of it. If I can stay free with a buddy who, I know who come down here and wrestles. So it's just kind of more networking is what really helps you get out there like that.
Right. Well, look, man, I know we just met and all that, bro, but we always like to show love and respect to any wrestler, bro. So if you ever have the opportunity to come here to Michigan, more than welcome to crash at my spot, bro. You know what I mean? Help save on your bills and shit.
Yeah. Thank you, man. That'd be a big help. And then it's more fun, then you get to hang out afterwards and all that stuff too.
Yeah, that's a brother. That's a brother right there. And plus, I always say this about wrestling. Like, I often go to wrestling shows by myself, and my casual friends are like, why? Like, well, because if I go there, I'm not alone. If you like wrestling, we're pretty much all friends.
Oh yeah,
and
sure,
absolutely.
That's so. I think that's awesome. That the camaraderie, like the instant camaraderie that I just saw right now, is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
cool, man. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I just know like when it comes to independent wrestling, like you guys do a lot of your own things, like your financial situations, like you got to pay for gas, hotel, food, all that stuff comes into play. And if, like you're in California, so if you got to come to a Michigan show and don't got air flight or anything like that taken care of, you got to drive. That's a lot of money in gas, a lot of time. So you guys are putting in a lot of dues and shit like that, man. So, at least I could do is try and help you guys on your way, you know what I mean? Or anybody for that matter, you know what I mean? If anything that I can do, the House of Grim podcast can do, man, to help any wrestler out, you know what I mean? We're down to do that. So,
Well, that's wonderful. We need more like you.
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
I have a question for you guys. You guys ever met anybody backstage wise where they're maybe like kind of egotistical, kind of, you know, like they take their character a little too seriously or something if they're heels?
Oh, definitely. There's definitely lots of those guys around, and girls,
Yeah.
and others around. Everyone, the wrestlers that are like that. Yes, definitely.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Gotcha.
I've been guilty of it myself.
Mm.
I'm 39. I've been doing this since I was 16, and when I was
Oh,
younger and dumber, I definitely fell into that category. And I met a lot of people that also did. I just you often hear about people taking themselves too seriously.
hmm.
Sometimes that's good. Sometimes it's good for kayfabe, but at the expense of others is where I kind of draw the line on it. If your ego is putting the show at risk, then that's a bit of a problem. But luckily,
Right.
I think in today's age, I've seen that a lot less.
Less.
Everyone's just
Mm.
so like everyone's like friends.
right.
Like last night, it feels like family. Like I don't see any egos. I think it's all like we're all here on a mission trying to entertain the fans, and
That's great, man.
I see a lot less of the toxicity now. Or maybe I'm just not going to the
I
toxic
could,
places.
right. I can agree with that. I keep up with a lot of things on like Facebook and Twitter, social media and stuff with independent wrestlers tagging one another and posting things for one another, and then also having storylines and legit beefs. But for the most part, man, like you said, the camaraderie's there. Like everybody wants to help each other out and really not want to bring each other down. You know what I mean? For the most part, man, it seems like the community of independent wrestling here in the state of Michigan, as far as like engaging on social media, you see everything is like everybody's getting along, trying to help each other out, man. And like back in the day, you didn't see that. People were trying to step on each other's toes and do whatever, what I mean,
Yeah,
to make themselves successful. And it just seems like from a fan standpoint looking in, from what I noticed, it seems like wrestlers are trying to help each other out, get to the next level. And that's kind of cool, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I feel like this next, or like our generation, or the whatever you got, the guys that have been coming up, and girls and everyone, the wrestlers that have been coming up in the last 5-10 years or so, they have like a better attitude overall, I feel like, than
Hmm.
what was coming out 15-20 years prior. I'm just
Right.
basing that, to be honest, off of my experience and people around that. And there's guys like Ron who are a perfect example of people who are good examples of how to act and conduct oneself, and just how to be a professional wrestler on all aspects of it. And he doesn't have an ego. He doesn't like make someone who's been wrestling 3 years feel less than, or go
right,
out of his way to
right.
put someone down beneath him and put himself up here. Where that's something I've noticed with. I'm not going to try and name names or get into, because it's like, I don't have to like everyone to be in a wrestling locker room with them or to work with them. They could have.
Right,
So
right.
that's, I really just, I'm kind of able to detach myself in a healthy way, I feel.
That's good.
Where others, I feel like, and I was having this talk with Calder McCall yesterday, who we did a three. He's our third man in our 6-man tag on our tag team, and
Nice.
we were talking about just in general how it's like, people want to have to be like, oh, we have to set the same political views to be in a locker room or to work together. And it's like, that's not, and whatever happened to you, don't talk about religion, politics, or sex. I thought wasn't that a golden rule?
Yeah.
What happened to that?
That's a quick way to offend somebody real quick or get yourself in some drama real quick. Is talk about anything political,
Religious.
that just ruffles people, ruffles the feathers, for some reason.
Yeah, and it's like wrestling is something that we all obviously love. So why don't we focus on that? And that's what brings us together. That's what someone else was saying. Like, there's so much stuff that divides us and going on in the world, but here we are all doing what we love, performing, whether it's us and the fans getting to see it. Everyone's having a good time and living our best lives. And let's be in that moment, because when we leave there, the world's crazy. So why would I do anything? Why would I personally go out of my way to make someone feel less than in an environment where it's supposed to be something fun for them? And I think that's what a lot of these guys who are unlike Ron, who have been wrestling 20 years or so, that they're not happy with themselves or what they've done, and they act as such. And that's what I was getting at. They have that bitter malcontent where then, like there's guys like Ron and I, like I've been wrestling 10 years now. It's like, I'm happy to be doing this. Like, so there's guys that I've seen come and go quicker, and I'm doing this 10 years. That's a blessing, man. Like the weekends, the memories that I have, if it all ended tomorrow, I'll be happy still. But luckily, I'm still in the prime of my life, and I'm able to do this for a good long time, I feel. So, like that's the attitude that Ron and I bring to a locker room, and that's the kind of places we like to go work at. And like EWF last night had a great locker room environment, but others, you go, and that's not always the case. 3PWA where we're at has a great locker room environment as well. So most of the places that I work, I go there and I'm there because I don't have to deal with any BS. You know what I mean? There's no promoter talking down to me and all this stuff, or whoever, the promoter's kid I got to deal with for some reason. You know what I mean? Or just whatever. Like, what?
The promoter's kid.
So how long have you two known each other?
About a couple years now.
Yeah, a couple years. Yeah, we've shared a lot of locker rooms. Just never really got to work together unless it was like multi-man shenanigans and nothing one-on-one. But even before then, I always saw a guy from afar, like on the internet, doing his thing. Like he was like the one guy out of a lot maybe the first guy I saw that was like doing like just on location promo videos, like from his boat, like in a party, living his gimmick. I was like, yes. Look at it. Like, my initial thought, I was like, holy shit, Spicoli is a wrestler. And I was just like, I was a fan from afar. Like, even when I was on like a hiatus, like I saw him and I added him. So when I got back into the mix, and one of the first locker rooms I shared he was in it. I was like, oh, full circle. I remember that guy from the internet.
Yeah, full circle. Yeah, so true. Damn.
So do you guys use social media yourself to help like promote matches and things like that?
Yeah. I mean, piggybacking on what we were saying about the divide and all, like, I prefer social media reminds me that I used to enjoy a time where I didn't know what everyone was thinking all the time. I don't have to hear every single thought, and because some of your thoughts are bad ones that no one wants to hear.
So some of them are just out of pocket that you shouldn't even be talking about.
but the promotional tool of it all, like, getting if you want to go onto the East Coast to wrestle, you can just flash a video over to the promoter and get something going. You can get things going easily now via the internet. And look at some of the sensations that have been born because of the internet. A lot of these, there'd be no Joe Henry without the internet. Like that was just a shot in the dark, lucky break because a video went viral. And those things happen.
That's true.
Those things happen. So like anybody can make their moment. Like I think the music industry is a great example of that. You got guys like, making it off of BandCloud or just random little streaming sites. So I think the same could be said for wrestling. If the right person sees your work, there's your opportunity.
There's your opportunity. You just gotta wait for the right person.
Yeah, Luigi Primo can get on TV spitting dough. I mean, and that's amazing too. Like I can't do that.
Yeah, we're always cutting promos. We kind of live pretty far from each other, so unfortunately, next time we should just start doing it at shows that we're at, because we are on shows enough. So
We're
sometimes
already dressed.
yeah, sometimes we'll get the flyer and we see who we're wrestling, 3-4 weeks out, and then we just won't see each other, or we will. We just don't think about it. It's like more so what happens. We're just like, hey man, good to see you. All right, let's do business as usual. But yeah, so we both got promos on especially for our tag title matches and stuff, just individually, and we'll have our things to say. Which I think that's kind of nice, and you get 2 different promos, from each person promoting the match, So which is we each have our each individual followings, and we always tag the promotion. But I think more eyes is the better, is my opinion.
Absolutely,
never hurts. Yeah.
Seems like independent wrestling's like on a rise, like all across the states. It's kind of getting that old school territory vibe in a way. It feels like.
Yeah, and that's what I love about the indies is I feel like it is a smaller scale, but we get to do what the territory guys did, and like just Ron was saying. But now we have the luxury of technology and saying, hey, here's a match and all this stuff. You highlights whatever you want, 8x10s. You can just send right directly to the guy. He's looking at them. Okay, I'll book you, and you can get booked. I have, and a lot of us get booked like that, and then also networking and, all that stuff. So it's like, here we are, even if it's, like San Diego, even just from LA to San Diego is a good 2.5 hours sometimes, depending where you're coming from. And then, a good 2 hours back, and got to drop guys off. So it's a good 5 hours of driving with a couple of guys. That's still a good, nice road trip in, and you get to have some food afterwards. Like that's just as much part of the experience as the wrestling is I really try to make sure I take the time when, hey, you guys are going out. All right. I'm going to take an extra 2 hours and just get back at 1 a.m. And that's what it is, cause if I don't do that, then I just go home and I'm sitting by myself and eating the come down of the adrenaline dump. It's kind of depressing to be honest. Sometimes it can be. So having that cool down, if you will, of, talking about your matches. Hey, I like that match you did and whatever with your friends that you have in the locker room, you go out to eat and it's just fun, even the rest and everyone's like, oh, like they were in your match or like that thing we did, that was funny, and whatever. Yeah. So yeah, it's a big part of it for me.
Yeah, and I was going to say too, man, when you guys have that show again at the UFC gym, when you guys will see me there. But I wanted to ask you guys after the show, will you guys be down to come to a bar? I'll get you guys some drinks.
Oh,
speaking my language, yeah.
Yeah. Who would say no to that?
Yeah. That's another thing. Those are the perks of wrestling that you don't think about when you're training. Like, hey, like a fan bought me, or like one time I was in line just to get buy a burrito at the vendor after my match, and this fan came up to me. He's like, "Hey man, good match." And like, all things like, "You getting a burrito?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got you, man." I'm like, "Oh, cool, I got a burrito for free." Like, it tastes better when it's free,
Exactly, just like you said. Who's gonna say no to a beer? Who's gonna say no to a burrito?
Oh, it's gonna be that much more colder and satisfying. Yeah,
exactly.
Thank you for the offer. We'll definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, exactly. Once you guys see me, don't be afraid to come look for me, man. I ain't gonna forget about you.
Oh yeah,
I ain't gonna act brand new on you, man.
We get beat up all the time, dude, and we can use it.
The more reason to get it.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Definitely take you up on that.
Yeah, if you guys don't have a ride, I have a Tahoe. You guys can hop in there. We'll go over there.
Thank you, man. Sounds good. Hell yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have any idea for a little sneak peek of who you guys are going up against for the next show, if you guys are?
I think at 3PW, I'm guessing because I saw Sky High on the flyer, and they're a solid tag team.
I haven't seen the flyer yet. I'm waiting to see it somewhere.
I think I saw it.
3PWA's channel on YouTube and Instagram, and I haven't seen anything yet about the next show.
I'll get on them to get it out there.
They definitely should. I have a physical flyer, but it's in my car.
Gotcha.
I knew I saw it somewhere. I was like, where did I see it? No, it wasn't on social media, obviously.
Yeah, that's fitting. Sky High. If we'll be taking on Sky High because they're named after our commissioner's finisher, so that's rad.
Yeah, I'm just guessing. I mean, unless they're going to bring him in for some number one contender thing or something, but it makes sense that, and they're former 3PWA tag title champions as well. So that just makes sense right there on paper, even.
And as we mentioned at the top, Delirium's still out there. Who knows what their intentions are. For next show.
Now we
see.
definitely got to run back though.
We'll
That's
see.
one
Yeah.
on our list. Whether hopefully, obviously, we plan on keeping the tag titles, and we're going to do everything we can to this next show. But it's one. Someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. So somehow, if we lose them, either way, we got to finish that. I guess that story.
Yeah, you guys got to finish that match, no matter what. And even though if you guys lose, God forbid,
the fans get to see the results.
It'll be as entertaining as beyond expectation. I already know it.
Well, I must
the
say,
way you guys were gonna set up that ending over there, but then the ref stopped it. Oh man,
what would have happened next? I don't know.
Yeah, that's why the fans were saying, "Bring them back, bring them back." But I guess not.
dude, I must say, I gotta point this out. You guys are our first set of champions from the West Coast to be on our show.
Oh, cool!
Yes.
Honored to be here. Oh, yeah.
First wrestlers from the West Coast.
First wrestlers and champions as a tag team duo on the House of Grim podcast.
There you go. How long you guys been podcasting?
We started back in
like September.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And you're all out of state. Like, how'd you guys meet?
Me and Dan Bob are
years
brothers.
Ago, actually.
But me and Slender Man, we met through a mutual friend. We all gamed together, so
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Apologies, I didn't mean to start interviewing you.
No, hey, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's actually something new, and I like it. Yeah, we met. Wow, what was it like? Maybe a 2018, 19.
Something like that,
there. Yeah, we met through, like he said, a mutual friend on on Xbox.
Yep.
And from there, we just always played, and then since we all like wrestling, we just came up with the idea. You know what?
Yeah.
Why not? Let's just make this into a thing where instead of talking about it, we talk about it and record it.
Right, let's do it.
See that full circle. What were we talking about? The camaraderie wrestling brings. So, that's how you guys started. So cool.
Yeah.
Now I got a connection out in Michigan,
Exactly.
Gotta say yes to life, and
we got free drinks coming up.
Yeah, this is a great podcast.
Oh yeah.
Let me ask you guys, is there any wrestler that inspired you that you've modeled yourself after?
I'll let you go first, brother.
One.
Gosh, my first iteration of myself, I was big into Yoko and Earthquake, just because I was told to study them.
That's my second uncle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, which one? Earthquake or Yoko?
Yoko.
Oh wow! So you're in the bloodline.
I don't
awesome.
even wrestle. I want to, but I don't. I wouldn't know how to go into.
Oh well, the bloodline expands beyond wrestling.
They'll help you. Yeah,
it's because I don't want to jump straight into the roster just because I'm from the bloodline. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Everyone else is doing it.
Because then I'm just like some big boy like this. Like I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah. Back in my 550-pound days, like when I was real young, I was really into watching Yokozuna just because I was limited. So when I was told to watch him, he could do things that were in my wheelhouse because, I wanted to wrestle. I just really wanted to wrestle, even though it may have not have been, actually safe at the time, just because it was like, I was like uncomfortably big, but it was the only active thing that I was willing to do. So that helped a lot, kind of motivate me to go the other way. And then nowadays, I still look up the big men, but a little more my size, like the Boss Mans, the Vaders, Bam Bam. I love watching those guys. But if you're asking me who I'm watching now, I think probably the most perfect wrestler to watch is Gunther right now.
Very nice
for me, wrestling wrestling all opinionated.
We hear that a lot, though.
I was so ready for that man to take the title off of Jay.
Oh boy,
man! What do you guys think about Goldberg having his last match against them?
Oh,
I was surprised to hear about that, to be honest. So just money though, right? It's got to be. People are going to tune in one way or the other.
It is for money though. Definitely.
Whether it's the right or the wrong reasons, it's one of those things I think where whether it's for the right or the wrong reasons, they're going to tune in to see if he can do it or if it's going to be a train wreck, and they'll at least watch for that reason. Yeah. So it's getting views. I
Well,
guess, you know.
Sorry, I
Goldberg-
didn't mean to get in the middle of that question, but
Oh
it's-
yeah, no worries. Yeah, because I'm interested in see whose guys' inspirations were too.
Oh, thank you.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so very from a young age, I watched Mr. Perfect, and as a kid, I thought he was a jerk, but I knew he was good, and so I liked. Now as an adult, I could see that he had his character and that he did his job by making me as a little kid not like him, And then he had his face on him, but for the majority, I think he was usually a heel, at least when I was watching him as a kid, and. So he always had a big, just like the character, the way he went about himself. And actually, little Easter egg here on my name, the Cool. He was before Mr. Perfect. He was Cool Kurt Hennig. And then and I looked it up, and he's got a picture of himself. It was like pre Mr. Perfect. Like he's doing and I was like, oh, he's basically he was always cool to me, and so I was just like, okay, it kind of solidified what my last name would be. I knew Guy. I wanted to be the first name, and then and then I was like, oh, cool, kind of makes work. But I was like, then that solidified it. So he's a big influence. Mr. Perfect, the way he works, his character, all that, and then I'd say I noticed. Subconsciously when I was watching him back Buff Bagwell and just his little how he pans to the camera and all that stuff, and then I think aesthetically Billy Gunn, and then just athletically I liked the way he worked and stuff like that, and then at least
that's cool. You
aesthetically.
said Buff though. That's cool. You said Buff Bagwell.
Yeah, he had he was
Yeah, a lot of charisma.
And the camera and the whole it's just like, all right, dude,
Honestly, that's a
opinion.
deep cut. That's a deep cut right there. I never heard anybody say, "Oh yeah, I knew I pull stuff from Buff." That's
right.
That's
why I had
awesome.
to comment on that.
I grew up during the whole Monday Night War thing, so just to hear that is awesome. And
I agree.
To touch on the name, the name's really cool, pun intended, because if you look it up in a phone book, it says "Cool Guy."
Nice.
Right? Yeah, backwards.
Who doesn't want to call that guy?
I'm like, hey, I found you on a phone book right here. Cool Guy. Explain it to me. I want to be just like you.
Those are, and then I think maybe obviously Jeff Hardy, because I used the Swanton and just that high risk taking style, and then that late '90s Attitude Era slash the ECW that still had wrestling in it, not just the car crash stuff. But I do like weapons matches. I've noticed I don't get booked in too many of them, but when I do, it's like I thrive in those elements. They're fun.
So do you like the death matches and things like that?
I mean, I still I like more like tables, ladders, chairs, like the hardcore, if you will, versus, and I'll do thumbtacks and stuff, but just to put let someone grate my forehead, I got a pretty face. I'm not doing any of that, just the
skewers,
the skewers. It's been done so many times.
That's gnarly right there, man.
Yeah, it's just kind of that's the cheap, shock value stuff. So I still like to have a story and all that stuff, and use these weapons to tell that story, and that's where I think I'm able to stand out, and even in those hardcore extreme environments, I've been booked on those shows, and I'll have a match, and I'm still getting these high, wow factor, because I'm not just going through this, going through that, going through this, going through that, and then nothing means more in between,
Right. That makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah. You can still make those things really a big part of, the match. It's just how to tell that story. And I think that's what people throw out the window a lot of these times in those death match scenarios, where it's just bam, 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 bam. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, we went to a show one time. It was light tubes, glass everywhere. That's all they kept doing, just breaking glass over each other. And it was like, what's the story? What I mean?
The 13th time you get hit over the head with the light tube, it goes down each time.
Right.
So they're just like they're chasing the dragon almost, and you can see it. Some of those guys, and in general, I'm not saying I just feel like there's, whether you're using weapons or not, people can wrestle what I call $2 hookers, and that's is you like that? It's just just do your job, tell your story, make them like and hate one person, and you got them engaged, we were at a church crowd yesterday, no one was cussing and having to say these outlandish things to get heat. We just got natural heat. we were the first match out. Like they were calling me James Ellsworth, which I didn't appreciate, but I get it. That like they got.
I could see the resemblance, I guess.
My hair's
Oh,
back.
no.
I guess I was like, I have a chin, but like the fact that they were engaged that much that they wanted to go, and they all started chanting and joining in, and they're booing him. It's like that's what they come out to do. Like they don't want to just sit. They don't, even if they are shy, introverted people, they're not coming there to sit on their hands and be quiet. And they want to yell. They want to get some aggression out. Like when else in life can you give someone the middle finger? As a fan, you give them the middle finger. You know what I mean?
Right,
and you're not going to be in trouble in real life. You give someone the middle finger. There's usually consequences. You got to go outside and settle this or something.
Yeah.
So like that's the fun of it all.
Yeah, if I can get a child to flip me off in front of their parents and not give a damn about getting in trouble, that means I did my job.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Those kids are the worst, man, because they look at you and they're like, figure out what you don't like about you real quick. And it's like, hey, you
just like that one kid that was at the show, huh? That was on his phone the whole time.
Oh yeah, I told him he was adopted.
That kid was.
They'll be off their phone after that. You're like, oh dang, they're looking at me now.
It's okay. It's okay. I think we got our revenge later when Slade did the dive.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he did.
We avoided.
I was wondering too. I was like, no way, because I was asking my friend that I was there with me, Andres. I asked him. I was like, I wonder if that was intentional, since the kid was ignoring them.
Could you imagine? Hey, I'm gonna dive on this fucking kid. I'm sorry. Can I cuss on this? I think.
Yeah. Do your thing.
You good? Oh man. No, that's why when I seen it happen, I was like, no way. And then I was like, yo, Andres, you think that was intentional because he was ignoring them when he was on this phone?
No, just a dumb decision in a tight squeeze area.
So we went to a show just yesterday, and we took a person who never been to a live wrestling show, and just to film his reactions and stuff. But I gave him a sign that said one of the wrestlers eats corn the long way. And had him hold it up over in this one area. So when that dude came out, he saw the sign. He came out, snatched it out of his hands.
He jumped out the ring so quick. Walked his big ass.
For his first show, he ended up getting involved in the show a little bit.
He was like, "Oh my god!"
That's the beauty of independent shows. You'll literally see anything.
I asked him. I said, "What were you thinking?" He's like, "A big dude."
He just saw him coming right to him.
I would have got him. I would have been like, I think I could take him. No.
But yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. Just speaks to how different like WWE to indies is, because if you go to a WWE show, you're paying hundreds of dollars, for
and
seats.
Maybe get a high five.
Yeah,
maybe that's all I was trying to hand out in my hand to everybody. Like
we're on the indies, you can
be part of the show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's great to be part of the show. Oh, actually, that comes to my next question. Has there ever been any fans that just maybe take it a little too far?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Oh man, I heard a funny story about that yesterday. I don't know if I should share it, but it wasn't involving me. But some people. I try to be understanding that some people may have some things going on. You know what I mean? So, but at the same time, if you're able to drive yourself to a show and all that, it's like
you're pretty comprehensible to do something and say something.
Yeah. So I just try to keep it friendly as I can and hope they pick it up what I'm putting down. But look, we haven't had too many weird people or anything. I get some messages here and there that you're just like, whatever, I'll just ignore them. But other than that, luckily, no, everyone's pretty cool nowadays. I feel like, especially at shows. At shows, I personally never had any issues. How about you, Ron?
Okay.
I'm sure you have.
There's been some times, like in the early 2000s, where someone would get a little too serious or buy in a little too hard. And maybe not think like it's real and all that stuff. Like they know they're seeing a professional wrestling show, but if they're talking shit and the wrestler singles you back out and they don't like how they're insulted, then they get a little more serious. Whereas we're bulletproof. Like we're gonna sell all the shit that's talked on us, and that's part of the show. But sometimes when a wrestler claps back, sometimes the audience just like reacts to that and it embarrasses that one fan. And they'll wait for you after the show and like try to like get in your face about it. But like it's I think it's alcohol related and
and,
that liquid courage.
And even especially back then, like
courage.
Especially back then, if I grabbed you, you're not going anywhere. So once you're like right up against me, then you're like, oh, I should stop talking, because when there's a barricade and ropes in between us, you're very mouthy. But once you're chest to chest with that version of me, luckily I never had to actually fight anybody, but I've definitely had to talk some people down a few times. I think it's promo practice.
Right. Right. That's pretty funny. That's great.
Haven't encountered that in quite some time though. Thank you.
I will just share the funny story. I won't say who it involved, but it just because the same guy he messaged me. He's like, I want to put you in a full Nelson. I'm just like, I'm gonna leave that one alone. And then
leave that one alone.
And so then I hear, and then these fans, or some of the wrestlers are talking about, oh yeah, this guy's been kicked out of shows. I'm like, oh yeah, I could see why. And then like, yeah, he actually like asked some wrestler if he could put a full Nelson on him, and like he thought it was just for a picture, but then he like starts like shooting it, and then he has to actually like wrestle out of it for
no
real.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, what the
fuck? Like, so I heard this story yesterday. That's why I thought I'd share it, because it was pretty funny. I was just laughing my butt off.
He actually he tried to put him in a full Nelson.
But like he thought, like something like UFC fighter, like, hey, like they'll get you in a rear naked choke, or you'll like pretend, like a headlock, and they'll like, you know what I mean? Either way, vice versa, that happens. And so he's just like, okay, it's a little pose picture, sure, whatever. And then he's like, whoa, what the heck, man? He's like actually wrenching me, and he actually had to like fight him off of himself,
What the
fuck? Yeah, and so I just thought it was
that's crazy.
That was pretty funny.
I wish I was in the room.
And I guess another wrestler was in the room, but he just like, okay, they're gonna take a picture. And so like he goes, as soon as I turn, I see the other guy's like foot leave. I'm like, no, come back.
Dude, last night my son, he said to us, he said, Dad, if I go to a show with you guys, what would happen if I just jumped the rail and jumped into the ring? I said, you get your ass kicked.
Don't even tell him.
Really?
Just have him try it.
Just have him. I said, dude, do not do that. Don't be stupid and do that. He's like, why? I'm like, listen, bro. I'm like, Triple H and Steve Austin was in a ring having a match, and a fan jumped the ring. I said, watch what Triple H did to him.
Yeah,
said, maybe the ref got in.
Watch what the referee did to him.
I was gonna. You took the question right out my mouth, Dan Bob. That was my next question. If a fan were to jump over that rail, over that motherfucking ring, would you guys actually kick his ass?
I mean, for me, like,
sounding yes.
just like in regular life, like I wouldn't just like while they're like still coming to their feet, like boot them in the face personally. But I'd be watching and like.
But would you give them a good boot to the face? Like
I guess you never know, because if they could have a knife on them.
Yeah,
so,
you don't know
if you
what
get
they're
a chance to
trying to
get
do.
up and pull that out, like I could have maybe they shanked the ref or the other wrestler or something, and then I could have done something about it. So I don't know. Like honestly, I hope that never happens to me. But I guess in the event if something did happen, I would maybe now saying that aloud, I'd probably game plan it differently and try and keep them down on the ground and get their make sure I got their hands or whatever so that they can't get up and do anything. Because usually you have that moment where you see them, and if they're a non-wrestler, they probably don't know how to get in with that much savvy. They're probably going to get caught a little bit, so they're going to like be clunky getting in. You're going to have that moment to go, okay, boom, get on. And that's what I would do, is probably get on them, keep them on the ground before I would like just.
I personally feel like if we're at a show and anybody that's not employed for that wrestling promotion and jumps in that ring and it's not part of the show, like you're a fucking threat, dude. You know what I'm saying? You're
especially
a fucking
nowadays,
threat.
yeah,
especially
right.
nowadays. Even from a fan, bro. Like if you're trying to jump in that ring, I don't know what the fuck you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna help out my fellow wrestlers out there, bro. That the people I came to see. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sit back and let you hurt somebody, bro.
Yeah,
young dumb me for sure would have taken that as a badge of honor. Like, yeah, look how much I got that fucker to emote to get in this ring and try to do something. But now like family man me is like, gotta avoid this at all costs. And if that does happen, I think restraining is the key. Just get him down and like hold him there until you have help. Otherwise, kicking someone in the head, you're at risk for you you know,
lawsuit, or charges, or a list
just
of shit.
you know, a boot to the head. That's a very fine line between life and death. You know,
Right.
you don't, especially an unsafe one. You know that he's not a worker, and
Right.
I don't plan on pulling my leg. You know, so just kind of like apply bouncer tactics and just safely remove him and ban him from the show.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, basically, man, if you're watching this show, do not take it upon yourself to jump in any ring. WWE, Indies, it don't matter.
No.
Like, flat out, don't
Please
fucking
make
do
sure
it.
you are employed and you have authorization from everybody in the group.
Right.
Everybody.
Don't be the jackass
Everybody.
to ruin a show for the wrestlers and the fans. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
don't be the one to ruin that show.
Unless it's intentional, where it's agreed upon, or whatever the case may be, don't do it.
Yeah, or like like even in music, that stuff happens, or like there's that crazy fan that tried to attack Dave Chappelle, he had a knife on him, or
Yeah.
like Dimebag Daryl,
We lost
my
Dimebag.
favorite.
Oh, man.
Yeah, rest in
Yeah,
peace. I mean,
man.
geez, that was terrible. I
Dimebag
cried when
Daryl,
that happened.
man.
It's like
Seth
how
Rollins on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, and like so, like when you think about the things that can go wrong, it's like Ron said, I probably wouldn't just go like boot him in the head, but like I have my right to then like keep him on the ground because he's not there. Versus that's I'm not going to get assaulted, taken to court for that. But if I boot him first before he had the chance to do anything, that's what I was saying. I probably wouldn't do just like for that reason of self preservation.
Yeah. Right.
And
right,
plus, promoter brain in me is like thinking, if we diffuse the situation and kind of talk him down, he's still a paying customer. He'll come back into another show.
There you go.
Maybe something like that.
Yeah, here's a free shirt. Don't ever do that again, though.
Yeah,
right. Like, if you want to get into a ring, go to a wrestling school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is.
Speaking of, quick plug here from me, I just actually opened up my I opened up my own pro wrestling school in Santa Ana.
What?
Yeah.
Santa Ana?
Yeah, on the board of Tustin in Santa Ana. So if you guys, I heard you say you might want to learn to train, so come on down.
I would love to. I'm a big guy, but I'm still young.
Yeah.
Hey.
No, dude, it's
I'm
never
still
too late, man.
I'm still in my 20s. Okay, so
bro,
I can make it work.
Young. I started training in my late 20s. I called it my third life crisis. I was like, oh yeah, I want to be a pro wrestler. I was doing the whole band thing. And
So
I started training at 28, dude.
So are you going to end up booking your own shows eventually, or?
It would be more so based around like student showcases stuff, and then to give them a place to work. I have so many great connections though, and stuff already that I know I'll be able to work them into places. But yeah, we'll definitely be doing when the time comes our own student showcases, and then start to do some shows because why not after that? That's right. Half the But yeah, I've just been so fortunate to have a place that I like and a ring, and everything's all set up nicely. Xavier, got to give a shout out to him if you guys know who that is. He does sets up a lot of the local shows, rings and stuff that you see. He's one of the guys who they hire, and he came and souped it up for me, tuned it up, and so yeah, I'm happy about that. It's one of the new things I got going.
It's cool that you got Flex going down there too. Now you got to study his weaknesses for our next match,
right? Yeah. No, I'm like, wait a second.
There's a wrestling promotion here in Michigan that it's kind of like it's basically the only like Michigan-based wrestling promotion that like travels around. But they do a lot of things with kids, man. Like they got a junior grapplers program from like I think it's like ages 6 years old to I think 18 or 17, somewhere around there, and it gives them like the fundamentals of wrestling, teach the kids how to wrestle, and then it also they give the children a live event to wrestle on, give them a live feel and being in front of a crowd and things, and it's kind of cool, man. Like it would have been a different path for me when I was a kid if I would have got involved in something like that, but unfortunately there wasn't nothing like that around. So that's just cool that there's something like that for kids. So that could always be an idea for you too, man. Doing something with kids, you know what I mean?
There's a whole. I probably honestly, it's a good idea. I don't know. Like, I'd rather wait for everyone. And I also think like people should be over like have their brain develop before they start taking bumps and all that. To be honest,
right.
That, like personally, I wouldn't want to encourage like 15-year-olds coming and taking back bumps. Like, I don't know. True. Like as an adult, we decide that. So that's probably my reason I wouldn't. But I would somehow if I could, do some kind of like free charity show at, for a good cause, for help raise funds for some rec center or something. I'd love to do that. Anything to help the community. Like Sean Black's really good about that. Shout out to him. He does a lot of those charity shows and stuff like that. And as wrestlers, it's really cool to work and donate your skills and your time for these good causes that are near and dear to my heart, like kids with special needs and all that stuff, and then they entertain them too, and they're such a fun audience. I love that. Love that we get to do that. It's one of those things you don't think about in training. They're like, wow, this is cool. I got to do this, and like I have family who are special needs, and so it's like to be able to give to that community and entertain them and see them smile is just that touches your heart. You can't pay me enough money. There's no amount of money that's going to give me that same satisfaction that I get to do it for free, and
right. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we see since we've been doing this podcasting, man, we've been meeting a lot of individuals, bro. They're just good all around human beings, dude. Just got good hearts, you know what I'm saying? And that's a good heart, bro. You're a good person for that, Wanting to put smiles on special needs faces and things like that, bro. That's cool, man.
It's what it's all about, making special moments for people and special for me too, so that's cool. Win-win.
Yeah, I've often said like I always credit pro wrestling in raising me better than my parents. Now I'm not saying my parents were bad. It's just that I came up kind of privileged with my parents, and like I could have been like a douchey teenager, I'm sure. But like once I found wrestling and like I knew I had to work for something, like you're working for everything. You're working to get in the ring. You're working to have a show. You're working to be on a card. You're looking to even before that, you're helping with ring crew. You're doing all these things, and while you're doing all these things to earn that spot, you're also learning all this like hyper aggressive respect that you have to develop. Like the going around and shaking everyone's hand before you even settle in. Manners. I developed all that stuff better trying to be a pro wrestler than I guess growing up as a real person. And again, that's not discrediting my parents at all. It's just I think it took me to actually love something so much like pro wrestling for it to click for me socially,
Right. Oh, I have another question for you guys, if that's cool.
Yeah.
Have you guys actually ran into like a little group of fans when you go out somewhere on the street in Cali or something? Where they'd be like, "Oh, I know who that is," or something.
It's honestly rare, but it does happen. Like I was at the grocery store one night, at like 11:30, and so I'm just I'm not looking the best, I guess. It's late at night, I'm just getting my groceries that I need, and then I hear Guy Cool, and I'm like, oh man, I could look cooler right now, you know what I mean? and luckily, it was this guy from he does like a local cover band called cover band called Night Rider. They play in Gaslamp, a lot of places around here, and so he's the drummer. I'm like, hey, I see you. So now when I go there and I see him, we have a connection, and yeah, just here and there, or like if I went to like a house show WWE and there's local wrestling fans there, obviously, then I'm just like in line getting a burger and like, hey, Guy Cool, oh hey, so people kind of look at me like, who is that or whatever. But so here and there it happens, like very rarely. But or I'm just walking my dog and I hear like, hey, Guy Cool, and sometimes it'll be someone like someone I see like a wrestling fan just happens to live nearby or coming through town, and so here and there it happens, especially even on the indies. I'm sure not as much as we're not technically famous, but here and there,
So do either one of you guys have like a YouTube channel that you post wrestling videos on that you guys do?
I stick with Instagram. Yeah, pretty much. I stick with Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, I have a YouTube channel, and I put all my matches that I have a little playlist on there. Like whether it's, the other promotion did it, then I'll put it on my page, I'll add it to my list of matches so I can watch it, when I'm an old man someday. I have it all right there, Come on, someday I won't be able to, and hopefully YouTube will still be, I'm sure will still be around, but, and then I sometimes if I know the promotion doesn't have any recording that day, I'll pay someone, hey man, $10, just record my match for me, please. Cause especially if it's one I really want to see, I know there's going to be a good one and wanting to wrestle this guy for the first time.
I'll record all the matches if I'm there, man, don't even
thank
trip
you.
about it,
Yeah,
man.
I saw
I'll
you did
record them
that.
all.
I was happy to see you because like certain promotions, I love the PWA, but sometimes they're not the best at like, I'll have had a match and like 6 months later they post it or whatever, or sometimes honestly not at all. Again, I understand it's a whole different thing.
If
but
you guys want, I'll send you guys the videos of your guys' match that are from my angle of what I recorded.
Yeah, no, you
if
had
you
a good
want.
idea right there. I appreciate that. I saw that. I was like, oh, okay, this guy's got a good camera and he's right up front.
You're hired.
Hired.
I sometimes go up to people like you at the shows. Hey man, can I get your whatever? Where do you post this? Or and like because I know like it's not going to get posted. I'll never see this match if I don't ask someone like you.
I'll send it to you guys for sure. I have the videos on my phone anyway, and it's in 4K, so don't even trip. The quality is.
Oh, I hope you got my good side.
Hey man, nothing but. It was just a little bit difficult for when the first guy came out and he said, "Oh, get my good side." He was getting his ass whooped, and then I had to yell out to him. I told him it's kind of hard to get your good side, but you kind of getting your ass kicked.
One of these days, me and Grims would have to come out to Cali, bro, and check you guys out, man.
Yeah. These guys right here. There's my team right here.
Oh yeah, please do. And if you do, I'll make sure to get you at least a comp ticket. At least I could do.
Hey man, we appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, and it's cool too because at the end of the show, I got a picture with D'Lo, you guys' commissioner.
Yeah,
and he told me if the next show that you guys do, I got to show up a little bit early. He said he'll record something with me for the podcast.
Hell yeah, he's such a good dude.
Hey, if you guys are there too, man, the more the merrier. The more the merrier. That's all I gotta say.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's good advice for you. Like anybody that doesn't want to like actually be a wrestler but wants to be around the business, cameramen, podcasters, interviewers, announcers, there's always
I would love to be an announcer on your guys' show too.
There's always an avenue in, and there's always something for someone that really loves it. So it's
there it is.
Oh man, yeah,
good point. Yeah,
I have always grown up with wrestling, man. I remember me and my brother, we begged my dad to get us the pay-per-view for WrestleMania 21. Oh no, it was 22 in Chicago, big time. I remember that theme song, man. I sang that thing for weeks in school. I remember that thing, man. We begged my dad. He finally got it. It was all three of us. It was me, my brother, and my dad. We were watching the whole show, man. I fucking loved it. It
was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, I think it was 21 was in Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 22 was in Chicago, big time.
And you have that memory for the rest of your life,
Absolutely,
like that's the beauty of things like that.
Yeah, I remember coming home as a kid in middle school, just waiting for Friday Night SmackDown to come on the TV, man. Just waiting for it.
Yeah, like you have school, you go do your thing. All right,
I'm talking. This is back like 2006. Chris Benoit was still around. Rest in peace,
the prime of SmackDown.
Yeah, the prime,
dude.
Man.
I kept the previous button on the remote. I kept flipping back and forth. TNT to USA, TNT to USA. So much commercial break.
Yep.
And then our rooms were right next to each other, me and Grim. So I had my TV on. I could look through his bedroom door and see his TV. I'm like,
the real ones know the struggle of flipping back and forth during the Monday Night Wars. Before TiVo, before DVR, all that stuff. You had to actually be on the ball.
Good times, man. Good times.
Yeah, I feel like we even though it was a struggle, it was still better times in a sense for us than what people have now. Like we had that real competition, and that was good for us.
Oh yeah, I used to piss my sister off for hogging two TVs when I didn't feel like flipping back and forth. I had one TV recording. I had one TV recording Raw while I was watching WCW.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's so cool.
Hey man, but who can forget the most devastating and most awesome chair shots that anyone has ever given anybody in the history of wrestling? When it was Hulk Hogan.
Oh
no, Hulk Hogan. Oh, no. Giving the best chair shots around.
I've seen
best to take, yeah, that's for sure. Best to take. I'll take his all day.
Nia Jax was giving him a run for his money a while ago.
I remember that. Nia Jax is over here tapping people too.
And that's the thing she'll be gentle with, but other things, yeah.
Hulk Hogan was out here. He was like, "Give me your back. Give me your back."
Yeah.
And then they fall to the ground like it hurt. I love that.
All right, take that chair shot, then a shoulder tackle.
Just one more question for you guys. If you guys have taken a spear, is it always a moment where you guys are ready for it, or where you know it's coming, or is it just out of nowhere and you just kind of have to brace for it the moment of?
Well, I mean, I wasn't ready for the spear I took at the show you were at. Yeah, that flex. He's an entire wall.
Yeah, sometimes it's like you turn around and you're like, oh dang, I'm not gonna have you just gotta just either tighten your core a little bit and then exhale out at the same time so that you don't let them knock your wind out of you, and just take it. Yeah.
Tuck your chin, brother. Tuck your chin.
And exhale, tuck your chin. Yeah. And that's all you can do at that point to just make it the least sucky you can at that point. That's your goal. It's
perfect. Hey, that's good advice for me. So if I do take one, if I go to that school, I'm going to tuck chin and exhale when I take the hit.
Yeah.
So I recently went and got 3 chops. I was trying to go for 10. I only made it to 3. Shout out to Mountain Man's big ass hands. He fucking fucked me up.
I was actually going to ask you guys that same thing. Because since Dan Bob couldn't do it, even though I love you, Dan Bob, I'm sorry. Grimes, you did it, man. You took them all. But I need some too. I need 10 chops.
Ooh, boy.
I need 10. Grimes did it. I need to do it.
I mean, I've always said no to this question. I've been approached like several times by fans.
Just a chop. I'm not even gonna take off my shirt. Just
for the sake, if it's for content, if it's for your show,
absolutely,
then, yeah.
Absolutely,
then,
it's for content.
Then we're on camera, and like I can ask you. You asked for this.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, but just go when you see me at the show, go backstage and just ask some of the other guys, hey, there's a dude here from the podcast. He's doing this for content. He wants us to chop one chop each from everybody.
You'll get a line out the door.
I only said 10.
Hey, that's what basically happened to me, bro. They started lining up, and I was like,
y'all 2 and 8 guys.
I think you're a good. I think you're a good candidate because that there was just this one experience that I saw. This wasn't me personally throwing the chop, but it was at an EWF show when I was a teenager, and this kid looked like the real life version of Milhouse from The Simpsons.
Oh man!
And he went up to one of the veteran wrestlers there, and he was like, you gotta chop me, and just like, and he was like, no, but then like he started like aggressively talking shit to him, like calling him a pussy and stuff like that, but like you could tell he didn't mean it. He was just really working for that chop.
Yeah, he was working for it. Yeah,
and like he was like, fine, I'll do it, and then he does it, and I swear it was like all the wind he thought he had just like, and like I'm telling you, real life Millhouse. So like, he was an adult man, but like the size of his hand covered like the top of his chest to like the top of his torso, the top of his torso. Like it was like a frying pan.
Fuck.
And it was one of those situations where you can tell like he was just gonna take a chop to like tell his friends that this shit ain't shit. But like when everyone saw him he got knocked on his ass, and like he was like never doing that again. It like legitimized our little group so hard.
Dude, I give wrestlers props, bro. Like people all the time, and it pisses me off, dude. Use the word fake. Ain't nothing fake about it, bro. You guys,
no. We don't use the F word, Dan Bob.
So
we don't use the F word
around here. It pisses me off when people say that, because you guys, for one, put your bodies on the line. You guys really tear ACLs. You guys really get injured, paralyzed. God forbid. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then the chops
shit.
hurt, bro. I walked around for like a week and a half with a handprint on my shit, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I want to see handprints on my chest, bro.
That man,
I want you.
That man took that third chap and he started reevaluating his life.
Mm-hmm. He said, "Damn, should I really be here right now?"
He said, "This for YouTube."
He said, "Fuck YouTube."
Dude, that shit hurt, bro. I think that I'm good. No more.
Gotta do it for the gram.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but if you guys can do me that favor, the next show, talk to some people in backstage. Get 8 more people. Women are okay. It don't matter. Women just give good as chops as you guys do. All right. Some of them get good ones. Some of them are okay. You know, but still, just 8 more people.
Okay.
And then after that, we go get some drinks.
We'll make it work. We'll make it work.
You gonna want some drinks after
the pain, that. And you guys could drink off of that. The beating that you guys take in the ring.
If that's what I gotta do to get that beer, I guess I can do it.
They'll pull some more strings.
There you go. There you go. Pluck them or pull them.
Yeah, no, but thank you for saying that. You're right. It's like, but something again. I feel like now, like days, I feel like people have more of what you were saying, Dan. Is that like they have the respect for it. They understand. It's a performance, but it's a very physically based performance, and we're putting our bodies on the line to real injuries occur, and it's very dangerous. So I think people have that respect for it now as for what it is versus where, pre Vince McMahon coming out and saying, this is, sports entertainment, not real, competition on national television. Like even then, like I feel like before he did that, it makes it okay for me to say that because he did it, and so then now it's out there. So
that's true.
As far as like the biggest company in the world is saying it, so everyone else kind of fell into place. So I don't feel like I have to sit here and BS you guys or anyone listening.
Right.
Sometimes I will try and answer things in a certain way, but I think that's the point of these podcasts. Is it's cool to peel back the curtain a little bit, and just like whether you're getting a movie, musician, you want to hey, what was inspiring you when you wrote that song, or what inspired your character? Like these are all the questions people want to really hear about and stuff. So I think it's interesting, and that's what's great about these cool podcasts is that we get to share our stories with other people who wouldn't normally hear it, and they get to hear things they wouldn't normally hear. So, but I think I'll just say that. I feel like most people, when I say I'm a pro wrestler, I've yet to come across someone that's disrespected me or made me feel like I'm less than for it. And I feel like I have a pretty good answer, for anyone who does. I was tempted one time because this guy said something similar where he's just like, oh, and I found out, it's whatever. And so I started watching it, but he was wearing a Superman shirt. And I wanted to be like,
oh, hell no.
And he was an admitted big, comic book fan. So I'm just like, so you're gonna like wear and buy this guy's shirt and say and let everyone know that you love Superman, a guy who isn't real. Who, if you shot him with a bullet, chances are he died just like the rest of us. So this guy's a completely fictional, not real thing. Why are you watching it? I always wanted to say it like that, but then so when you view it like that's how my approach to it would be versus getting offended or anything. Because when you get offended, it's like I've given them some win. They feel like, oh, I got you, and so I don't let them have that satisfaction. I feel like so many wrestlers, like I remember Bill Maher. Do you guys ever see that interview with like Roddy Piper, Sting? They were just so brutal. They couldn't make a point. They were just so upset and offended that I'm just like, bro, put me in there for 2 minutes and I'll shut Bill Maher down right now. You know what I mean? But they couldn't say something like that. Like, okay, Bill, what do you like to watch when you're at home? Tell me some of your top 5 favorite movies. Chances are none of them are autobiographical. Chances are one of them is going to be completely fictional. You know what I mean? Like Star Wars or whatever. Like Luke Skywalker doesn't exist. You know what I mean? It's like, so why are you watching it? Like you can say that about anything. And so I think nowadays people have a more respectful approach to saying things like that and don't come off like that, hopefully. But
like growing up, it was very like lowbrow to a lot of my friends who were like watching boxing or UFC, and their main point of contention was that it was predetermined. That's what made it fake. And I've used the same argument too, Guy, where I was like, dragons in Game of Thrones aren't real either. And then their comeback to that is always, but they don't try to pass that off like it's real. And I was like, so you just won my argument. Where that's the art of what we do. We're trying to pass it off like it's real.
Yeah.
And,
you guys do your own stunts. Don't stop.
And there ain't no
gotta have a
retakes.
stunt man come in.
Ain't no retakes.
Yeah.
You fuck up, you fuck up.
Elix Skipper famously walked the top of a cage and did a Hurricane Rana. He never practiced that. It's just one of those things. It's just an adrenaline dump, and you're just going to try it. If it fails, oh well. If it succeeds, great. Either way, it's going to be great fucking TV, no matter what the outcome of that is. And dude nailed it.
That's the beauty of it.
There's no cut, retake, nothing like that. It's just
awesome.
It's a highlight for life.
Yeah, and I think peeling back the curtain with podcasts and all these like documentaries on the struggles of like a ground level wrestler trying to make it nowadays. Like even back then when Tough Enough came out, I felt like that was privileged shit to watch, and I was really into it just because it kind of like made me more excited to go to school when I found one, and kind of seeing the backstage part of it, seeing all the real stories. Like I had people that used to like completely denounce wrestling kind of be more into it now because of the struggles these people go through just for that dopamine feeling of being accepted by a crowd who's there to buy into something. So I just think once you kind of get the art of it all, it becomes a lot more palatable.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a movie, but the stuntmen are the stars.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And any movie that fall or whatever it is that you saw, it took like so many takes, and they probably had padding and all that stuff. I know they do. There is, a lot of legit. There are a lot of very legitimate, tough stuntmen. They are to do the job, but you still have that luxury of, oh hey, it didn't come out right. Whatever, you could have hung in the air a little more or whatever. We got to do that, and we train for that. To hit that once, and that's it, and you don't got to go back and do it again, because if we do, we messed up, and they'll know there's an audience there.
No, you fucked up chance in a movie theater.
No.
Well, the Halloween movie, maybe.
Oh yeah, questionable writing, maybe.
Yeah.
Wow.
Anybody have any other questions?
I think I'm all out of questions.
I'm cleaned out.
Right.
Well, I already asked these guys to get 8 other people. I already asked them out for a beer. I already asked it to be the interview with me and D-Lo, because the more the merrier. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the best part about a killer party. It only gets better when there's more people.
Right.
Exactly.
We got friends.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, if nobody else has any more questions, I figure that's about the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you guys.
I appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
I just think it's awesome to be able to get perspectives of like wrestlers from other states, other like wrestling areas, so get to see like how things are the same but different in areas, so
right.
This is fun.
Yeah.
As I always say, thank you guys for watching, and as always, you'll be entertained. Yeah.
Make sure to like and subscribe.